Welcome to Things Invest, we talk about investing, finance, professional development. For today's video, it is Tim's only. The investment on the top today would be Ethereum, ticker ETH. First, I just want to say happy Sunday, everybody. Hope a very great weekend so far. I personally did. I spent some good time with my family and my dog yesterday, so it was a relatively chill day, despite the slight shower that we had in the New York City. In respect to Ethereum, as I'm recording today, around 8:50 a.m. on the Eastern time right now, it's currently trading around like the $1857 level, down by 1.34% ever since that sell-off that we've had in the last 2 days so far, from the Friday on the expiry of the options and subsequently to the additional weekend affectation that we've experienced on Friday and Saturday subsequently, right? That we hit all the way down to close to about the $1730 level and subsequently rebound to the current level of resistance at $1860 level that we've identified in the previous technical analysis video. In addition to that, with respect to the recent news, more of a recent Twitter exchange between Jack Dorsey, which is the CEO of Square and Twitter, which is, he's also a Bitcoin maximalist, and Elon Musk, right, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and he's also, characterized as like more of a Bitcoin critic and a Dogecoin promoter, with his obviously environmental efficacy. With respect to the informal Twitter exchanges between Jack and Elon on Twitter on Friday night on June 25th, they're gonna have to talk, basically a debate, to discuss their subjective and objective point of views on cryptocurrencies. And that cultivated into Elon's invitation into the B Word Summit that is going to be hosted by Jack, and then a subsequent formal agenda and the event announcement on the B Word Summit has been confirmed and publicized later last night. And based on the guest list that I've checked so far, is a pretty substantive one with a lot of industry titan in their respective industry, from cryptocurrencies to fintech to even environmental efficacy. And with respect to a list, just to name a few, there's including Elon Musk, like Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, obviously Jack Dorsey, Adam Beck, which is the co-founder of Blockstream, Michael Mora, the senior counsel of the Beacon Global Strategies and the former acting and deputy director of the Central Intelligence Agency, to John Newberry, the director of Brink, right? Definitely a good substantive list of people. So in this event, we're going to learn a lot about their subjective and objective affectations around their point of view. As we learn more about their perspective going forward in this summit on July 21st, which is basically about less than a month from now, this will obviously serve as some sort of a market catalyst going forward, right? Similar to the way that we saw from the SNL debut from Elon Musk, right? We had that rally all the way up to the show and then sell off from there, right? So are we going to see more some sort of like buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectations to the market dynamics going forward? How is this going to reflect to the short-term and the long-term fundamentals of the cryptocurrency as a whole, and specifically for Ethereum? So I'm going to go through a technical analysis to take a look at that more specifically in more of a long-term spectrum dynamics perspective, but also in the more of a near-term perspective, so we could better maneuver and triangulate all these factors into executing your right price. So stay tuned, stick around, and let's make some money. On to the technical analysis for Ethereum, ticker ETH, and I'm recording us off 9:20 a.m. on the Eastern time right now. We're currently trading around like the $1852 level, down about 1.6% right now. We're currently hovering at the very substantive consolidation zone that I've been mentioning in my previous videos, right? The 1860, the $1850 level is the psychological resistance level that I've been testing multiple times in the past. So we're just kind of consolidating at this level right now, right? And with respect to the recent time frame, the last couple of days so far, ever since on Friday, the option expiry, and also with respect to the Friday and the weekend affectations that durates, I think the time frame of the weekend affectation durates from sometimes around noon on Friday. So basically like 4 hours before the equity market on, deterring which directions are we going to be going on that day in an anti-correlation perspective, all the way to Saturday, somewhere around like 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. time frame. That would be typically the duration of the selling pressure that I've seen and observed in the 4 consecutive weekends so far. And subsequent to that, around like 5:30 p.m. on the Eastern time, we subsequently rally back up, right? And I think a lot of people were extremely, hardworking and have been very diligent and studious on understanding the charts, understanding the technical analysis, and apply hard work by looking at your phone app consistently to make sure that we are purchasing, Ethereum at the right price point to dollar cost average. And I think a lot of people actually mentioned in the chat section on telling me that they were able to get an ideal price point they were looking for. And I see that a lot of people are, making some relatively good gains at the moment. So congratulations to you and good kudos for for your hard work and work ethic. I really appreciate that. And with respect to the rebound that we're experiencing right now, how sustainable is it, right? We could take a look at that closely together, right? You could see that with respect to the MACD right now, we are forming some sort of a curvature at the moment, right? Because of the fact that we're kind of curving up at the moment right now with this relatively sizable sell-off that we've endured so far. This is a relatively about 40% of a sell-off that we have had ever since we were at the $2,600 level. Now we're at the $1,800 level, obviously a relatively large one, right? And I think we are pretty much at the bottom, right? Again, the 1750 is a very strong resistance level that, is very hard for us to break, knowing the fact that we've tested this level. If I look at this again, I've mentioned this to you many times in the historical video, you could see how many times we have tested this bottom right here, right? And I drew a green line here for a reason. It's because this is a mega substantive level of consolidation that for us to crack this wall or this floor, if you may, is extremely difficult, right? You have to sell on a loss. A lot of people have to sell on a loss on both a public level but also on a corporate level for us to get below that level to hit the next level, which is a relatively big leap down to the $1,550 level, which I really hope that we get there if we have a black swan events that occur like sometime this week coming, or even today possibly. Again, right, Sundays are those one of those like surprise type of days, of the week, right? That often anti-correlates with the market dynamics, right? It's just to kind of, it's like they know something about our technical analysis for some reason, that they know how to counter our technical analysis by putting some black swan outlier into the market dynamics, right? But anyway, seems like the water is relatively flat at the moment. We don't really hear a lot of negative catalysts so far, despite the 3 negative consecutive catalysts that we've had in the last 3 Sundays so far. It seems like today, on this Sunday specifically, on the 4th one, we're hearing relatively more of a positive one with obviously the B word summit that we're going to be expecting 1 month from now. But this is a relatively more of a long-term type of momentum rally play that we're going to be experiencing going forward, rather than a short-term one that we are seeing in suddenly in front of our eyes type of dynamics, right? So in the near term, I do see some pull up from here. We are highly oversold for quite some time now, ever since the 21st all the way to basically 27th. So it's basically a week of being highly oversold, which makes sense if this like escalated downward curve, right? And we are seeing more of a curvature on both the RSI and the MACD perspective right now. So I do believe that we are up for a rebound relatively shortly. And I think the next level that we're going to be reaching, obviously, will break through the $1,860 level, and the likelihood of breaking the $1,860 level is relatively good. On top of the fact that we have that macro driver of the conference, that I actually see some sort of a rally coming in the next couple of weeks, right? I don't think it's gonna happen in this first week, but in the second week, as we hear more media affectations around the percolations of the anticipations of the debates that we're gonna hear between Jack and Elon, and I think even Kathy was gonna be in the mix of the debate. That two of the one, right? I think all three are pro Bitcoins, but obviously Elon has that environmental efficacies type of perspective that could drive some negative elements into play. Also, on top of the Chinese mining crackdown, that's also another element that's in play. So depending on how the media is gonna fluidly manipulate and influence affectations among public investors, we might hear some more of a mixed signals across the board, right? But I'm leaning more towards the positive spectrum, so I do foresee some sort of a buying pressure ahead of the conference or the summits coming. So again, right, with respect to how you dollar cost average, like if there are some negative black swan events that happens, right, testing the 1750 would be another level that you have another opportune time to dollar cost average. Do we see 1550 in the near term? I think based on the chart right now, I don't see it because MACD is curving up right now. RSI is already highly oversold. We are curving up as well. That the propensity of going up is 70% to 30% of going down even further because people have to sell on loss for you to get to these zones right here, right? So that's not logical, right? Would you sell on a loss just for the sake of because it's down? Like, do you need your liquidation that quickly? Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to buy a car? Or what are you trying to do, right? I don't think people would just sell on a loss for the sake of selling a loss, right? You need some incentive around the dynamics of it. So I do foresee us to be rebounding relatively shortly, testing the obviously the $1,900 level, right? And then the next one would be all the way leap up to the $2,000 level. I would say close to 2,000. I would say more precisely the $1,998 level to be more precise based on the level. I think people have a tough time obviously cracking through that $2,000 number. Right? I think it's easier to crack through like the hundreds, right? But if you talk about like 2,000, it's like another leap up psychologically speaking, right? But if you break through that, the next level is going to be a huge leap up all the way to the 2,150. Okay, I do foresee that the rally should be arriving shortly, right? I think the first test we need to see right now is to crack through that 1860 first. If we crack through the 1860, we're leaping up all the way to 2000. Okay, and once we get to the 2000, we might consolidate from there. And then if we have even more of a positive momentum of pressure around better news or just like more positive media affectation, we will propel back up to the 2,150. But for us to crack through the $2,000 first, we need to watch the dynamics of it very closely because like that's a pretty strong level first substantively for that is hard for us to crack through the ceiling and also hard for us to break down, so we need to really watch the $2,000 level to see if we're able to crack through it. But overall on a macro perspective, I am bullish on the near term, at least 1 month out ahead of the summit, and I believe based on how historical drag effects just based on the SNL debut, which was relatively doesn't really have anything to do with crypto overall cryptocurrencies. I think Dogecoin is just one entity, right? But does it really have anything to do with like Bitcoin, Ethereum? Not really, but they have some correlations to it that could subsequently drive some buying pressure, right? However you think about it, is it a direct level of propellant? Or is it more of a pseudo level propellant? I think it's more of like a pseudo level propellant. And knowing the fact that with respect to the SNL debuts and the Coinbase IPO, which are two major catalysts, that we drive from $2,000 level to the $4,450 level, right? I think the likelihood of capturing that at least 40 to 50% of the momentum that we've had prior, knowing the fact this is a debate that we're going to be hearing in the summit, it will have some pseudo affectation. So I am leaning more of the positive spectrum. So I do expect a rally coming relatively shortly. Another evidentiary support that we see that can back up the thesis that I'm trying to make here is because we sold off 40% so far already, right? So people are looking for a reason to buy. And I think as more short-term investors shifting to long-term investor, that will percolate even more of a buying pressure going forward. About all the numbers and the technical analysis, I think the current level of the $1,860 level is definitely a fair number to buy at, right? Because we are at a consolidation zone that we've been testing for quite some time now historically, right? And the next leap up is going to hit all the way to 2,000, right? So I don't see any other room in between that will further consolidate. So it's either a high probability of leaping up or a likelihood of going down to the 1750, right? And if we go down to the 1750, I think that's an attractive level. I keep telling you this is a golden number to buy, right? Based on the current state of mind with respect to supply and demand dynamics, 1750 is definitely a great level to buy and happened during this weekend already. And with respect to the steel level, the 1580, I don't foresee us to be getting there anytime soon, but obviously contingent on no more black swan news that happens today or the rest of the week or the following weekends that we're going to be experiencing. both on the weekend affectations, but also like a black swan news that happened on a Sunday that we don't know, right? But if we get to 1580, just eye that level because that's the level that we should be bouncing back up to as a rebound level, right? And with respect to corporate adoption, 20%, $9,800, 5.3 times your money if you buy at the $1,860 level, right? So that's it for there with respect to my technical analysis on Ethereum ticker ETH. Hopefully this is helpful in giving more clarity and transparencies. And also I want to just say I want to thank you so much for the engagement that I've been having so far. I love the comments. I love the advice that I've been having so far. I really take everything very constructively. So I really appreciate, you make me better and also appreciate the work that I'm doing here. And please hit the like button, subscribe, and also the bell notification. And watch out for the next video coming up. Take care. Bye.